Good evening and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you to everybody who has subscribed and watched my videos and left comments. I really appreciate it. So my first two videos were stories. They weren't. What I'm trying to say is we're going to mix it up a little bit today. Today we're gonna talk about me still, my life, but we're gonna talk about some more lighthearted, maybe even to some people humorous parts of my life. There was a time in my life when I was staying with a bunch of friends, and we were in dorm style rooms. Our floor had like 8 rooms on it, and in the middle was a big old day room that had a stove and a microwave, refrigerator, big TV, and couch and chairs set up, stuff like that. And so one evening, like I said, this has been many, many moons ago. One evening I was, how do we say it? Feeling under the weather. We're going to use that term, under the weather. And so I wanted something to eat, so went into my little freezer that I had in my room, a little refrigerator, pulled a Hot Pocket out of the freezer, and I went down to the day room. And it's dark, 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 dark. And I look over, and there's a whole bunch of my friends watching basketball. They're getting into it. I'm not a basketball fan, so I didn't bother them. Somebody said, hey, I said, what up, fool? And that was pretty much it. And went over to the microwave. And like I said, I wasn't feeling real, I was feeling great. A little under the weather, but I was feeling real good. So I go over to the microwave and I unwrap my Hot Pocket, put it in the microwave, start it, sitting there just waiting and waiting and waiting. And finally it dings. I pick up the Hot Pocket and I just start. And man, that Hot Pocket was yummy. Well, one of the guys flipped the light on and said, D, what the hell are you doing? Mouth full of food. Hot Pocket. They said, you didn't even heat it up, it's frozen. So it's the best damn Hot Pocket I've ever had. So needless to say, I was feeling so under the weather that I had eaten a frozen Hot Pocket. To this day, I don't think I've ever had a Hot Pocket that was that yummy. Don't ever think I have. Oh, the good old days. Then there was another time when I was drinking with some friends and other things we weren't supposed to be doing. And I got real hungry. And I went in and I didn't have nothing to eat anywhere in that house, the apartment, where there was nothing. Wasn't nothing hidden, no chips, no nothing. Open up the pantry, there's nothing. There's not pickles, there's no crackers, nothing. But there's a box of instant mashed potatoes. Yes, there is a God. So I proceeded to pour me some in my hand and eat a few of them. Tasted like crap, but hey, it was potatoes, like dry potato chips. So I ate quite a bit. And it started swallowing and my throat started feeling like it was filling up. Drank me a little bit of beer to try to wash it down. And that thing swole up like this. And I was like, my friends were like, what's wrong? And I'm like, those potatoes started swelling up in my throat. Mixed with that beer, it was swelling up fast. I finally just swallowed real hard. Boy, I tell you what, it's like swallowing, it was like trying to swallow a peach seed or something. It just itched and burned and everything going down. But I got it down. I don't think I ate any more mashed potatoes that day. But I got it down. And there was other times when we'd do foolish things like that. You know, go out and barbecue and cook crawfish, have so much to drink that you're just having a good time. And why not get naked and go skinny dipping or something? Not a good idea to go skinny dipping in a pond in a pasture full of cows, because the water's pretty rough and uneven, and the cows don't like it when you're in there. You go in there while they're in there. They do not like that. Don't know why. They're selfish. They don't want to share. For me, it was just one of those things. There was other times where we'd go to somebody's house where they had a party and everybody's having fun and being responsible. They'd strung up a barrel, 50-gallon barrel, put some cloth over it to pads, like moving pads or something like that. Strapped that barrel to some trees, and that was our bull. People would get on it, and 4 guys just yank on those ropes and get that barrel just a going, and sling one person here, sling another person there. Good times, lots of fun. I had another friend of mine one time who decided he was going to ride in the back of my truck, but he wanted to ride standing up, and he was closer to. Then he said he needed to pee, so he was closer to the tailgate. Like, I gotta pee. I said, all right. And I wasn't driving very fast, 5-10 miles an hour at the most. And that little boy just decided to stand up right close to the tailgate and just whip it out and start peeing. Me being his good friend, and I didn't want him to fall, I decided to tap the brakes, just ever so lightly. And he just flumbled over and everything, and hit his head on the bed of the truck right near the window and looked back at me. He's like, you made me get pee on myself. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. It was an accident. But we used to do crazy stuff like that, and we're still alive. I don't recommend anybody watching this go out and do anything like that. It's not safe for work, not safe for home, and it's not safe. Don't do that. Then there was another time that I was at a bar, and it was one of those bars. It's really big area, but a big building and a long bar, maybe 40 feet long or something like that. Huge bar. And me and some friends are down at one end, and we're talking, and one of them says, hey, D, that girl down there keeps looking at you. Way all the way on the other end was this beautiful blonde-headed girl staring at me. And I had to stare back, and of course I'd been drinking a little bit, so I kind of waved back. And they're like, D, go talk to her. And I was like, no, she don't want nothing to do with me. So I start walking down that way, I got my little groove going, feeling good about myself because, I just feel good about myself. And mind you, this bar's long, and I'm following this bar, not paying attention to this bar. And I get down there, and I'm going up to talk to that woman, and she's standing down there, and I go put my arm out to lean against that bar. Do y'all realize that bar freaking ended? Disappeared on my ass. Smack right down to the ground. Fell right on my ass sideways. Rolled over on my back. Looked up at her. I said, well, I guess that kind of blows everything a little bit, doesn't it? She said, yeah. Bye, and walked off. And me and my pride, I'm going to let this get me down. So I just laid there. What seemed like 20 minutes was probably, 30 seconds or so. My friends come over. They're all hovering over me. D, you all right? I said, yeah. And then they all started bragging on me, just laughing and giggling. You idiot. Look at you. Look like a goober. And you just... It was awesome. That's good times, right? And then we used to go out on the railroad tracks. In the little town I grew up in, it had some railroad tracks that went across the bayou, and walk on the pylons, the railroad ties, walk out to a certain point, and then the pylons on the side stuck out about 1.5 feet, and they were down about 1.5 feet. So us being smart guys that we were in high school, we decided to go out there, and I don't know who ever came up with this. God only knows who ever came up with this idea, but we would go out there and sit on these pylons in the middle of the night. We'd drink and talk and have fun, reminisce. Although we were kids, we didn't have much to reminisce about. And, we were feeling good out there. And then the train would come along. We didn't get off. We stayed there. That was awesome. Because you look up and you got a train literally like 2 feet above you and 1 foot to the side. I mean, you could reach up and touch that train, rip your arm off, but you could touch that train. And we used to do that crap. We were stupid, but that's what we used to do. We used to do stuff like that. Another friend of mine his parents had just bought a brand new Jeep. Or, I'm sorry, they were going to buy a brand new Jeep. And they had a minivan. And so they went out and test drove the Jeep, decided they wanted it. They were going to do whatever they needed to do, and the next day they were going to take the van back in. Well, that night, the van went on one last journey, let's just say that. And it was riding around town, and this one little spot in the backside of town was a railroad track. It was just a little lump in the road. It wasn't more than about 8 inches, 10 inches of a little hump. Of course, the width of a railroad track. And that little old van hit that like Dukes of Hazzard. Just and smash. Didn't land nice and clean like old General Lee did on Dukes of Hazzard. There was a lot of clinking and clanking and blah, 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 all that other crap coming up from underneath it. So the only way to fix it is to duct tape it. That is what duct tape was made for. It was made for a quick fix because the van was going to be traded in the next damn day. So we took it, and that was it. A few days later, the friend of mine, his parents, get a call from the dealership, and they said, "Did something happen to this van?" "No, not that we know of." "Why?" "Well, everything underneath it was all taped up. The muffler and the exhaust and all this stuff underneath there was all taped up with duct tape." No idea what you're talking about. So what did we learn here today, kids? Don't do what Derek did. It was fun, but it was stupid and it was irresponsible, but it was fun. Let's not forget that part. It was fun. I really appreciate everybody taking their time out to watch me, and I will make more videos. Y'all have a good evening.